Welcome to the Colombian Code, El Código Colombiano. Today, we're going to talk business, more specifically, banking. And what better place to discuss banking in Colombia than in a Bancolombia, as we visit Bancolombia's very own Sala d'Arte here in Bogota. Now, for those of you not familiar with Bancolombia, it's basically the national bank of Colombia. At least it might as well be, as the most common bank you'll find throughout the country is Bancolombia. Now, there are plenty of other banks in the country, but they all vary in scope and coverage once you leave the metro areas of the major cities. So if you're ever out and about and in need of a bank or cajero, by far the most common you'll encounter is Bancolombia. And despite being the biggest bank in the country, both me, myself, and I, and practically everyone I know agrees that Bancolombia is one of the worst, if not the worst, bank in the world, at the very least in Latino America. And trust me when I say that's not a title easy to achieve. If you have any enemies in life, you can recommend Bancolombia to them so they too can suffer in agony having to deal with things like problematic apps with regular downtime, cash machines that are regularly broken down or out of money, and God forbid, if you actually have to go into the bank to get anything done, you might as well just cancel your whole day because you're fucked. So now that I've given you a bit of background on Bancolombia, let's move on and discuss banking in Colombia. The first thing you need to know about banking in Colombia is that it's shit. Despite it being 2025, Colombia is still very much a cash based society. Believe it or not, there are still a lot of businesses here that don't accept cards or e payments. I can tell you of actual restaurants that my colleagues and I have walked out of because they don't accept card payments. It's unbelievable the amount of business these establishments lose simply because they're too cheap to pay the 3.5% processing fees to the bank. So, in a lot of these establishments, you'll see things like cash or QR payments only. The QR system works a lot like Zelle, which allows you to send interbank transfers without charge. And now they're launching new systems like Keys or Javis that allow you to do the same. So we have a heavy cash based society where people get paid on the quincena, or 1st and 15th of each month, which means on the 1st and 15th, as well as the days before and after, everyone goes to the bank to make payments and withdraw cash. So do yourself a favor and try not to do any banking around the quincena if at all possible, because you can expect extra long lines and broken and empty cash machines. Now, some banks are better than others, but they're all bad. It's just a matter of picking the lesser evil of the bunch, which ultimately depends on your needs. Bancolombia may be the worst bank, but it essentially has a monopoly on the system. You're almost forced to work with them if you want to do business in this country. And believe it or not, even in 2025, there are still a lot of Colombians who don't have a bank account. And the vast majority of the ones who do may only have a Bancolombia account. Thus, it becomes part of the custom or culture for people to just pay things by transferencia Bancolombia. So if you're in business here and can't take Bancolombia payments, you can potentially lose a lot of clients. So to the code disciples, if you're going to do business in Colombia, I highly recommend you have at least two bank accounts. So you have a backup for when things go wrong, because they will, and I'd make sure at least one of those accounts is with Bancolombia. The other thing you need to know about banking in Colombia is that they charge you for everything, especially with a business account. The banks here are like the airlines, nickel and dime you to death. Need access to the system portal so you can actually do banking transactions? It's a fee for that. Need a card associated with your account? There's a fee for that too. It's called the Cuota Manejo, and it increases every year. I kid you not. And the banks have long been selling membership package tiers. It's really gotten out of control. But as they say, welcome to Colombia, where monopolies are legal and thrive. And let us not forget the cuatro por mil tax on all bank movements. You're exempt on personal accounts for movements up to around 17.4 million pesos per month. But for business accounts, there is no exemption. They charge you every peso. You do a business transaction for 1,000,000 pesos, you're going to pay 4,000 peso tax on that transaction. But for the code disciples who followed our previous episode of Business in Colombia, then you already know that good accountant I told you to hire will help you avoid being nickel and dime to death by these blood-sucking banks with their fees. Remember, the code disciples know better. So subscribe and follow the code. Till the next episode. Salud.